Are you a fan of knowledge? You have dropped by the right place. Welcome to the first episode of Useful Eyes. Today we're going to be talking about the Battle of Midway. My name is Alessandro Conte. This is Useful Eyes. We're going for a quick break. Stick around. Back on June the 4th, 1942, at the Pacific Ocean took place the greatest naval battle in history. If it weren't for this battle, the United States wouldn't be, who knows. Yet they are world's #1 superpower so far. On December 7th, 1941, the Japanese Navy destroyed the US fleet at Pearl Harbor. The United States lost 17 warships, over 340 planes, and 3,500 Americans to death and injury. That particular attack cost the US to shift from a neutral position in World War II to Allied forces. However, a month before the Battle of Midway, the Japanese Navy had destroyed the United States fleet in the Coral Sea and taken over 90% of the Pacific Ocean. The only obstacle to Japan's control of the entire Pacific Ocean has been the US fleet stationed on the island of Midway. The victory of the Japanese in this battle meant that the shores of the United States were open to a Japanese invasion without resistance. Before the battle, the US Navy cracked the Japanese Army's secret war code and prepared itself to attack well. General Chester Nimitz led this battle with the American Patriot. On the Japanese side, General Isorko Yamamoto. General Yamamoto was confident of the victory and underestimated the naval power of Americans, especially after his earlier victories. He thought, you know what, the US military only had 2 aircraft carriers and the third one was still in maintenance. In contrast to previous naval battles, ship versus ship, the Air Force will rely on what is known as the dogfight method. Japan has used 0 aircraft, which have long range and high maneuverability, but its only disadvantage is not being able to carry heavy missiles unlike American aircraft. The US Navy relied on radar for the first time, while the Japanese Navy relied on visual vision system of soldiers, giving the Americans a competitive advantage in battle. Before the battle, 2 American aircraft carriers hit 325 miles from Midway Island to ambush a Japanese fleet of 4 aircraft carriers. The US Air Force attacked the Japanese fleet, but most of it was destroyed and the US began its defeat very soon. Then it was time for the Japanese Air Force to attack, and while it was bombing Midway, the US Air Force squadron came out in a final attempt to destroy the Japanese fleet. With incredible luck, the US Air Force destroyed the Japanese fleet and sank 4 aircraft carriers. When Japanese aircraft returned from their Midway attack, the aircraft carriers which had taken off were not found and fell one after the other into ocean waters. The results of the Battle of Midway were the death of 3,000 Japanese and only 300 Americans. The United States lost 1 aircraft carrier, but the Japanese lost 4. Japan lost all 263 fighter jets, but the United States lost only 150. Finally, America won the Battle of Midway, opening the way for dominating the Pacific and eventually winning World War II. If you want to know more and have a little bit more of knowledge, wait for us for the next episode of Useful Eyes here. Thank you, love you all, see you.